So your stay or go, one has to be mobile, one has to stay. Now, I personally believe that you can't wait. You can't wait for someone to help you. What we saw with the things going on in Katrina is we saw these people all go to the dome, and kids were getting raped, wives were getting raped, the guys were having to watch it happen. The bad guys, what was happening is their friends on the outside would throw weapons up over the wall or the fence while they were all mingling, and all of a sudden all these bad guys had pistols and knives and stuff that they shouldn't have that was taken from everybody else inside the premises. I don't like giant group concepts. People one-on-one are awesome. People in large groups get crazy, and I don't want to subject my family to that. So I don't believe that it's a good idea to put myself in that situation. Some people say, well, I don't have the skill set. That's what I'm going to do. Go for it. I'm not going to. So I'm going with stay or go. What makes you decide if you want to stay?
The location you're in. If it's like a really good location with water and coverage, you know, trees or something that cover you, and you can survive, food and everything, and stay there.
Okay.
Safety of the conditions.
Let's go with safety. Safety is paramount because people get crazy. What we ended up seeing, cops decided they didn't want to be cops anymore during Katrina. They started taking people's weapons from them, which is against, it's constitutionally, it's not only is it illegal, but it's against your constitutional right, and that's a federal law, and the state law can't supersede the fact that you can carry a weapon. And they were holding people at gunpoint, taking their weapons while people were getting out. They had a camper full of stuff, and they were driving out of the state, and they were getting stopped in checkpoints and having all their weapons taken from them. That's going to be a gunfight with me. I'm going to start killing cops because you're not taking it. That's the way I provide for my food. That's the way I protect my family. You can't take that from me. And they were taking that right away from people. And I know I'm on the extreme side of it, so you don't have to buy into that. That doesn't, whatever. So you don't have, when you decide to go, it's still under the safety of your conditions. For me, if you're going to stay, you have to stay long enough for people to link up. How many people work from home? Okay, a third of you, quarter of you. Now, how many of you have a partner that doesn't work at home? Or a partner that you're away from your partner most of the time? And how many of you have kids in school? So let's say we have a small disaster or a large disaster here in California. How do you get your kid and your partner to link up with you when cell towers are down, when email is down, and landlines are down? And those are serious because, I mean, you saw what happened. The whole LA got shut down during that one earthquake. Katrina got shut down during that earthquake. And now a lot of the cell towers are getting these, they're putting a lot of stuff in the infrastructure for them to be able to survive on batteries and wind and hydro stuff. But it's going to be backlogged because everybody's going to be trying to call everybody. And people from across the country are going to be trying to call their family to make sure they're okay. So the service is not going to, it's going to be spotty at best. So do you have a plan to set that up? How long do you wait in a location if it's not safe for your family to show up so you can get out? So these are all the things that we have in my family planned for to be able to make sure they get home, and then we can decide where we're going to go from there. And we have different places that we would go. A friend of mine's got a ranch. We'll go out to the ranch. When I was living here, a friend of mine in Goleta has a ranch, and we would just go up to Goleta before I moved back to Wyoming. I would just horse it to Wyoming. So how long do you wait? Do you have another place that they would go if they're closer to that? So if someone is in Santa Barbara, for my example, if my partner was in Santa Barbara, then they don't come all the way home. They go up to the ranch in Goleta, and then we meet up there. Or they go to, you know, this specific spot that we know they're going to be. And that's just a generalization for you guys to see how to start thinking about these things. How do you get your family to link back up so you can make sure everybody's safe and then get somewhere? Because I'm a survivalist, I don't mind being in the woods, but not everybody likes being in the woods. So do you have a plan for the people in your living area, your little neighborhood? Some people, especially, I lived in Laurel Canyon when I lived here. And so we had a group of people that we knew that we could secure the area so nobody could come up and loot from us. We knew that this person was a doctor and this person was a chef and this person was, so we were able to make sure that everybody was taken care of, and it was in a protected environment. There's no way you're getting out of Laurel Canyon if there's some sort of weird disaster. So why would I try to leave? I wouldn't. We would just stay there, hole up, and make sure everybody's taken care of. So you may want to just hook up with your neighborhood. You may want to just make sure that everybody in the neighborhood has a job, there's a disaster preparedness idea, in that standpoint. And a lot of people think that I'm fringe crazy about this stuff, but you don't even have to do it as much as start to think about it and talk to your kids about it. There's really simple solutions to most of these problems I'm presenting you with. Mostly what I want you to do is just start thinking about them. And then you can email me if you want specifics, or you can go about making up your own concept. So the next part that happens that I see with most everybody, especially these survival blog people, that they're survival experts, but they're all on blogs and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They think that they can go out there and do a hand drill. Now, a hand drill is hard. To start a fire with a hand drill, the little stick and to do that, that's a really difficult thing to do. It takes years of practice. You're not going to start a fire that way. And these guys are on there, well, I've got a hand drill and I carry it with me. It's like, good luck, stud. It's not going to happen. Most of them are not fit enough metabolically to handle a survival situation. Most Americans aren't fit enough to handle a situation metabolically. So they have poor nutrition habits, they have poor fitness habits. Can you right now walk from your work to your house carrying a small backpack without your brain blowing up and your feet falling apart? Not everybody can do that, and that's something that every person should do, because when you get there, that's just when it starts. You're just doing the link up. Then you have to start working to make sure everything is okay. You have to make sure that, are you the first one there? Do you check out your house to make sure your house is good? Do you make sure the gas line is shut off? Do you make sure that you start filling up the water tub, the bathtub with water, so you have a crazy amount of water just waiting for you? Do you shut off all the rest of the pipes so you don't get sewage back up into your pipe, so whatever water is in your hot water heater is good water? That's 50 to 80 gallons of water right there that you have access to right there. So you make sure you shut those pipes off. If you have time, you fill up your bathtub. You fill up every pot container you possibly can think of with water while everybody else is running around being crazy. And that's the first person's job when they get home. Shutting off the gas. Now, here's one, it's gas. If you have a gas leak, is it heavier or lighter than air? It depends on if it's propane or methane. It depends, which one. One of them's heavier and one of them's lighter. So it's important to know which one your particular house is using and look it up and figure out which one's heavier or lighter, so you know if you go up into the upstairs, if you're going to pass out, or if you try to get low, you're going to pass out. So those are important things just basically to know. Do you have food that is shelf stable for up to 2 weeks? That's enough to live off of for 2 weeks? That doesn't need to be cooked, that you can still eat? We're not talking about rice or macaroni and cheese or ramen. We're talking about, I don't eat any of that stuff, so we have a big couple things of coconut oil, because it's a medium chain fat, so it bypasses all kinds of metabolic stuff and it goes right into your system, and it's a long-term fuel that's super easy to use. And it's more calories per gram, so you're gonna, and it's middle on making you full or not. And then I have a whole bunch of canned fish, because the protein is gonna make you feel full sooner. You start putting a bunch of rices and grains and pastas into your system, it's gonna make you hungrier than if you're putting a protein and a fat in your system. So a lot of people have big jugs of, a lot of these survival experts have big jugs of rice, big jugs of beans, and they're just making themselves hungrier over time, because you need more calories to actually have the same output. And you're not getting all your branched chain amino acids, so you're not actually restoring any function. You're just getting yourself hungrier and doing some basic stuff. So starting to think that way. Do you have enough for 2 weeks? Do you have enough for longer term than that? Do you eat it right away? I don't eat it right away. Or that's the first thing we do, is we have a meal, because it calms everybody down. We have a family. After everything is turned off, we got the water on. As soon as we got all the basics handled, the first thing that we would do is have a meal together as a family when everybody gets back, because it's going to calm everybody. It's going to bring some regulation back into the family. Nobody's hurt. Have a meal. From that, I set out traps to catch I'll kill squirrels. I'll kill a pig. There's a mountain lion. I don't care. We're going to start bringing food into the house that we don't have to use our shelf-stable stuff for. And if you can start bringing some of that stuff in, I was walking down the streets out here. There are citrus trees everywhere. You give your kid a bag while you're going on a walk out of here, or in the neighborhood. Okay, you know on whatchamacallit street, that person has an orange tree. Go start picking oranges, and they're just throwing oranges in the bag, right? That person's got an avocado tree. Start putting avocados in the bag. And you're starting to collect stuff and give somebody a task that's doable. Does that make sense? So it's starting to think those things where you can make it as keeping people busy in a way that's going to provide product for the family and make it as normal as possible. Does that all make sense? Okay. So you have to have a family plan. You have to have a family plan on the road. You have to have a family plan at home, or if you're split up, whether you're split up in the town or across the country. So my partner has a daughter, and they know if something goes on, they call my buddy Justice. Justice and I spend a lot of time in Iraq together. His family's got a ranch 2 hours north of us. Justice has to come through our town to get there, and he's a survival guy too, so he'll pick up my family on the way. And that's the plan, like if something weird happened. And they know that, so they can call him while I get myself back to my family. So do you have a plan if you're split? A really easy one is to have an email set up, but not that you send emails. It's a family email. You never send it. You type it, and you save it as a draft, and then the next person has the same password and the same thing, and when they open it, it's saved as a draft, so it never sent, so it can't fail on the send. It only has to save, and that can be accessed from anywhere in the world, and it takes less bandwidth to do that. So if you type it on your phone, those of you that have smartphones, computer stuff, if you type it on your phone, it's saved right there. It's like, I'm here, I'll be in a short, easy, they save quickly, and everybody can access it. So something as simple as that. It can there's also satellite text messengers for Android phones and iPhones. They're about this big, they're $150. They're called a spot. And you can type in a text, and it sends out a text via satellite on its own batteries to whomever. And you can send out a mass text to 20 or 30 people at one time. So it's a cheap way to get a whole bunch of people involved.